All right. Have you ever felt like you were left out of a conversation and everyone else knew the secrets, but you just didn't know what was missing? People always seem to do things a little easier than you, and you don't quite know what's missing. Have you ever wondered what goes on in the rooms where millionaires hang out?
Mm.
Me too. And so between Kira and myself and 898 more of people that are just like us, we invested heftily into ourselves to find out that very thing. And when I
Mm.
tell you we are about to blow your skulls right off of your earlobes with the information that we got this week, I stopped short of saying nothing more than a absolute miracle. It is the absolute opposite of what I thought it would be.
Mm.
And it is the epitome of transformation and what it can do to invest in yourself. And I'll tell you, my prices, your prices, and your prices should never be the same. I have a high ticket offer that is out of this world, but I'm not going to sell it to you. You know why? Because I don't want to work with everybody. I want
No.
to work with my people. You should want to work with your people. You should not want to work with the people that do not resonate with you. And what we found is that we resonate on the millionaire frequency, and we
Hmm.
want to teach you to do the same. So if you're ready to dive in today, lean in, grab a pen, because I'm not doing this for nothing. Lost my pen. Okay, that's cool. I'm not writing it. You should be. Oh, get that scarf out of here, man. They don't need to know I'm wrapping my hair with something colorful. This is my son, Anthony. He is the video editor. Don't we look just alike? Look at this.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are my manners? Kira is in Fort Lauderdale,
Yeah.
Virginia. I'm just kidding. We know it's in Florida. Fort Lauderdale, Florida,
Well,
right
my
now.
geography is bad, so I could have been like,
My geography is bad. I'd be in Pennsylvania, Texas sometimes. Kira was
yeah.
sitting at a table with at least 6 millionaires, one of them being, won't mention any names because we don't do that. We don't name drop. We don't need to. But let's just say kingdom minded individuals
Hmm.
that shortcutted 4 years of confusion into 4 minutes of clarity.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Four,
That was
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Ciara Nicole is a emotional wellness coach that teaches you to regulate your emotions so that you can find financial freedom, health, wealth. It's the intersection, it's where it's supposed to go. I'm going to
Yes.
let her speak on her breakthrough. And when I say I witnessed the transformation firsthand, I was sitting at that table. I was the connector that connected her to the clarity. Let me get out of the way. God's willing, night seal. I got out of the way so that God can channel and tell me who did I need to talk to and who did I need to connect them with. And as I
Mhm.
talked more with Kira, I found that there was something in her that I know that a lady that I met earlier could speak directly to that I couldn't. And so I connected them,
Mm.
and that's when the clarity happened. Kira, how are you?
I am incredible, thank you. I'm still riding the wave of such a crazy event. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It was a huge breakthrough, and clarity on my audience and what it is that they want in a tangible form is something that I've been searching for clarity on for at least 4 years. And I think because I'm in the emotional mindset space and it's kind of abstract and energetic by nature, I've struggled to grab onto a clear outcome and make it tangible. So that's something I've been working on with multiple mentors, multiple coaches, multiple programs, multiple years. And in that moment, I was just surrounded and immersed in an energy of clarity and given the space to really break through a wall So she asked me repeatedly, no, keep going, keep going, keep going. What is it that your audience want? And I would say, what I've learned so far, no, keep going, keep going, keep going. Which was pressurized slightly. There was a table full of
Mhm.
people listening in, but very supportive. And then, yeah, just paused for a moment and I just sat in that. And then it just occurred to me. It just broke through. It's a very, yeah, insightful experience. It's hard to put my finger on exactly what happened, but I think it was a combination of the people there, the conversations, and just the energy in the room. That's all I can say, the energy in the room.
Did you get that? People there, conversations, and the energy in the room, the PCE.
Mhm. Mhm.
I hope you took notes because I'm not rewinding it, but you can. And while you're
The
at it,
beauty of
go
record.
ahead and subscribe and like and comment. Comment right there, right now. How did that make you feel? Did that deliver some value? Let's keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Yes, so the power of proximity, I would say, was what I really took from that. That was the huge realization. I've never been to a live event in that way before. I've never been in a room with millionaires before. And I've heard about people talking about that and networking. So I understood it conceptually,
Mm.
but to be in the room and experience it as a lived experience was a totally different ballpark. Not just because people are millionaires, but just the level of clarity and personal development and commitment and dedication and focus that somebody has put in to become a millionaire, to
Mm.
be in the energy of that space in a concentrated format, just to be totally immersed amongst people who are powerful people who are pursuing their purpose and pursuing personal development to that degree was so much fire, I almost burnt to the ground.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
feel I'm ripping at the seams here because I know the gems are about to come. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and then
Mhm.
just going to make this fireside chat as we discussed. Guys, the gems came before we hit record, but I had to keep that out because we're a little too high right now and we might give away all of the gems, but we're probably going to still give away all the gems.
Yeah.
So what would you say? We were there 4 days technically. There was the
Yeah.
pre-registration day on Monday. There was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I'm gonna break it down for you. Were you there for the pre-registration Monday? I can't remember.
No, my train was delayed, so I intended to be, but didn't make it in time.
Okay. So what was your biggest takeaway from day one?
I did do an Instagram story on this, so
I feel like that was a very vague question. Let me
no, I did have one, but I can't remember because I just feel like time's sped up since
it,
then.
it has. There was so much value in the first day. When I say it was one of those moments where I could have walked out before the event started because of the people we were in proximity to and the value that they were pouring in without us having to ask. And you get to mirror a lot of people's, you get to use NLP, mirror people,
Mm.
raise to their vibration. When you're in proximity, the power is that the energy in the room helps you to get and to create an imprint on your brain and create a physiological change in your body to know exactly how you need to be and what
Yes.
you need to do so that you can have the same. Do you see what I
Ah,
did there?
absolutely. I wouldn't miss it.
If they were taking notes, they'll be able to walk back through that in their notepad and see that it
Yeah.
was the. I won't even say it. I'm not going to drop that nugget. Whole another video for a whole other time. So maybe not the biggest takeaway. Let me ask you this. What was the contrast between what you expected to see in that room
Mhm.
and what actually happened when you got in?
I think the big contrast was that I was so focused on Myron Golden. So I'm a Myron fan,
Mm.
fangirl. So I was like, get to Tampa, Myron Golden, like, ah. What I hadn't given much thought to was everybody else. And the fact that I was going to be immersed and having conversations, breakfast, lunch, and afterwards, that were just so high energy, so focused, so intentional. What's your purpose? What are you here for? Like, who do you serve? How are you showing up? That was the catalyst that just set light to all of Myron's teaching. It added fuel to
Mm.
the fire for me. Um, and again, I understand conceptually being physically in the room adds so much value, but to feel it was like a vortex. That's the way I've been describing it. Like a vortex of
Yeah.
just, and everything moved very quickly. So, for example, the question, what do you do? I was aware of refining that with each person I spoke to. And because I had multiple opportunities to do it, the evolution of how I introduced myself has exponentially grown in the space of 4 days because you repeatedly have the opportunity to, okay, yeah, improving. Like, yeah, the people, I would say, it was the biggest shock or contrast.
Mm. I'm so glad that you went there because I was just about to say, did you notice that every time someone asked you what you did, you were able to iterate immediately based on the
Yes,
signals you got from the last person?
yes,
Were they clear? Did they
yes.
did they catch my drift? Did they understand what I was doing? I noticed that when I said this, they didn't. And then that person, it wasn't that they looked at you weird and said, "Okay, weirdo, I'm gonna go back to my millions." It was, "Have you considered this?"
Hmm.
And then you talk through it, and then look, the conversations are the air is different at this altitude. And
Exactly.
if
So
you don't
well
have a straw, you might not be able to stop breathing in.
said.
That didn't make sense.
That's
It's
okay.
it's like Kanye West said in very very wise prophet Kanye West said, "You feeling like you're running, huh? Now you know how we feel. Tripping when you ain't sipping, have a refill.
Is Anthony embarrassed that you're spitting bars?
Don't be."
I appreciate it.
It's funny. No, I just meant the metaphor to you attain a level where you actually get the freedom that the money promises. That's what you want. You never
Mm,
want the millions. When I hear millionaire, I hear abundance of freedom.
yes,
Time
exactly.
freedom,
Exactly.
freedom to do
Location
what you,
freedom.
yes. There's no more chains. And did you know, oh, that was it. So the conversations are different. We're not talking about people, places, or things. We're talking about ideas. We're talking about problems to solve on a large scale for a lot of people. And we are obsessed with solving the problems that the world has. And it was a room full of people. Do you know the power of that multiplied?
Hmm.
So, one of the gems that I got from one of the speakers, I believe it was, I want to say it was Rick Williams that said it, that when you get fired, it was when the slaves were freed or sold or let go, they burned their paperwork so that they wouldn't have to go back to slavery. So I resonate with this because I have been fired over 277 times.
That's
Literally.
so impressive.
I know, right? And I keep getting hired. Like people still want me. I'm like, but why though?
You
And then
can't get
I,
that job off you. Won't leave you alone.
so I realized just now, actually, I was today years old when I had this look, you just saw it happen.
Hmm.
They didn't keep wanting me. I had to keep going and pursuing slavery
Oh my
because
goodness.
pursuing slavery is free, but pursuing freedom is an investment. And that's the difference.
Mm.
There were 900 people in this room. Now, just for easy, simple math,
Yeah.
and I just realized I did that whole equation wrong. I said two, two, and two, and two, two, and two is six. And my wife was looking at me like I was crazy, but she went along with it not to make me feel stupid. So let's just say 300 people paid $1,000 for their general admission ticket.
Yeah.
That's $300,000 just to be in the room. And that's not even the VIP breakfast. That's not the extra stuff that you get, like
Yeah.
when you go to the breakfast and the VIP lunch or the platinum lunch and the platinum dinner, you get them doing a panel talking about more in depth of what they just shared from the stage.
Yeah.
And you get deeper into the secrets and the philosophy
Exactly.
behind why it just worked. So that's 300,000. Keep tabs
Yeah.
from here. And then you have 300 people. We're just splitting it evenly.
Yeah.
300 general, 300 VIP, 300 platinum. Now you've got 300 times the $2,000 tickets, and that's $600,000. What are we
Okay,
at
so we're
right
at
now?
900,000.
900,000. We are $100,000 short of $1,000,000 for 600 people showing up to be in the presence of millionaires. Just for that, they didn't even know it was going to be at the conference. They just knew that there was going to be what, nine speakers,
I didn't
nine.
even know how many
I
speakers.
didn't
One
even
speaker
count
was
them.
my concern, which was Myron
Right.
Golden. I'm
They were all there
in.
for one person, but the
Yeah.
other people were added value.
Of course. So much added value.
So much. And then we've got 300 times the $3,000 ticket value. And I got the general admission at first. And then I was like, if I go and I play small, that's going to be an absolute mirror to how I play my life. And if I'm going to be living
Mm.
in my future and pulling it to me, that I'm going all the way. And so another $900,000. So now we
1.8 million.
we have 1.8 million just before the show starts. So then you have merch, you have the food at the high quality that they had it.
Mhm.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Amazing. Amazing. Do you see how we were on the vibe? I never say chef's kiss. I don't
Synchronized.
mean
No,
but you said chef's kiss.
no.
It wow.
Aligned.
God kisses. So 1.8 million before the values dropped, and then we get in there, and the MC Elijah is phenomenal.
Fire. So much fire.
I mean, you talk about a big things coming in small packages, and this is no offense to the man. He's dynamic. He
So
can get the
dynamic.
crowd. He can introduce. When I see that reframe, it
Mm.
was
Love
quick.
it.
That's what you get when you
Quick. It was a
introduce
quick
millionaires.
reframe.
Quick reframe. When I am on the stages and I am being introduced, and that is my event, I want Elijah to introduce me because I didn't know who he was talking about. He made
Yes,
Myron's,
me too. He kept making him sound like a new guest, and then I was like, aha.
yeah. And I was like, wait, we're starting with Myron? So I was actually kind of sad at first because I was like, oh, wait, we're not starting with Myron? Because he made
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sound like
exactly.
he was
Made it sound like
different. And
someone
I was
else.
like, wait, who's this? I was trying to like listen to the cues. I'm like, this sounds like Myron, but is there someone else like him? So I said all that to say you got the merch, you've got, all these other things that are happening, and then you've got the really high ticket offers because he's produced a lot of results for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when you found out about his top tier level offer, the $1 million offer? This was the first time I think he revealed it publicly,
Um,
or maybe.
maybe no, I think I've heard of it before. What's been quite interesting actually with being in Myron space for a while, which is really exciting, but also a little bit discombobulating. What a fantastic word. Is that now when I hear people talk about, 20K day or 20K months or 100,000 £100,000 a year, I'm kind of like, oh, is that it? Because I've heard and been in Myron space for so long, and he's like only this and $1 million day, and so I think I've already kind of started to do a lot of that reprogramming. However, to be in the room when and watch people physically stand up to go and take the offer, that was very exciting because it's a new level of social proof. And there's that part of you that's like, oh, who is that over there? And to
Who
see
is
that
that?
of just exactly who just got up for $1 million offer. So many things actually in that moment, like fire and power for that person. That's so exciting to see somebody walking into that chapter.
Hmm.
So beautiful to see how effortless he makes that offer. Actually, a big theme for me through the whole 3 days was the low pressure sales.
Mm,
They're like, these are the offers that are on the table. Take them or leave them. Take the one that's right for you or don't.
mm,
Just
mm,
effortless, relaxed, calm, steady, and present. That was a real big insight for me. And especially, of course, with $1 million to make $1 million offer, just like you're offering somebody a cup of tea, like
man, it's just $1 million.
it's just $1 million. And that's how it is. So it was really exciting to see that ease
Mm, mm,
and to see, yeah, I'm in a space where this is normal. This is for me. This is my space as well. And that's going to be me one day. And so I found that very empowering and insightful.
mm.
What about you? How
I'll
did you
tell you on
perceive
the other side of it, being the person that stood up first, because I just thought he's going to make this and then everyone's going to run. So let me look at where he said he's got 2 seats by his brother. And then he shut up. It was like he made the offer, said take it or leave it, and then he
it?
stopped and the room was silent. And you would have thought that everyone would have bum rushed his brother. And like I was like, this poor man's gonna get knocked out. People are gonna go because we had just been on stage, right?
Yeah.
The
Yes, of
$100 bill.
course. Yep, yep, yep.
And when I saw no one moving and I heard crickets, I said, all right, I'm taking it. I don't have $1 million, but you know what? I'm gonna create the physiology in my body that says I have $1 million faith to walk over there.
Sorry, pause. Don't just skim over that because that point in and of itself needs just a moment of fresh air. Sorry, you
Well,
wanted to feel the physiology of that experience. Can you unpack that for us? Because that is such an important point, and I feel like people need to really get on board with that.
ooh, and I just felt the physiology change there just thinking about it because I can't describe to you what it felt like to hear $1 million and actually not feel any fear because I
Mm,
had talked to so many people in the room. I had found that in this room, people are just like me. And so I started to believe that it could be me.
yes.
And then I said, why couldn't it be me? I only make $230,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's just 4 times more than what I make.
Mm-hmm.
I've already quadrupled my income once. What's another time? Because if you're going to make 230, 250, whatever, it's a quarter million, you might as well make 1 million. If you're going to make 1 million, you might as well make 10 million. If you're going to make 10 million, you might as well
Yeah.
make 100 million because there's no difference. We get paid according to our creativity, and I am a creative person. As you see, I'm in the
Yes.
creation station. There is a desk here for Mac related to anything Apple design and music is here. Anything Windows is here. And then you've got my job.
Back
Have my
over there.
they have my slave papers, but they treat me well. They got really
Mhm.
good benefits, and I'm not being facetious. My company treats me really well, and they allow me that space to have the creative freedom so that I have that 90% of creative freedom and that 10% of action, massive action. So
Mhm.
I'm
Massive,
saying
messy
massive.
action.
That's it. A massive part. That's the other thing is I saw people immediately after they got an insight, they were setting up cameras and things to record their podcast right there in there. And I was like, I should have done that. I should have had chats with
Yes, yeah, me
everyone. I
too.
would have had a
Such a
ton of
good idea.
content. And if I would have just turned my camera on and had it that if shoulda, coulda, woulda, if I
Next time,
next time, and next time, by next time, I plan to scale to $100 million by December 1st. So let me let me
louder for the people at the back.
let me step back. By my birthday, I will have scaled Question Everything and the brand of Gregory G-Wiz Rutledge to $100 million. I
Sorry,
don't
one more iteration. You speak from already being in that place. So I have generated or I have created $1 million. It's my birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you. And I have just crossed the finish line of $100 million.
and then that adrenaline that I felt, that same feeling that I felt when I got up is what I'm feeling right now. It's like I liken it to the feeling of a seed as it's germinating and finally cracking through its shell to come out.
Mm,
That's what it
mhm,
felt like, but it's right above the stomach,
mhm,
right below the heart,
mhm.
I
Can
never
I
had the
go? You go. You
Go
go.
go ahead. I never had the fear in my gut that I usually have. I didn't have the
Hmm.
clenching of my muscles. I didn't have the fear of what people would think if I went over there and didn't have $1 million and was ridiculed, because that wasn't like, I wanted to show people what it looked like to get up and make massive, like, make a decision. There's a choice. I can always teeter totter on the fence, right? I can always pick and then blame someone when it doesn't work or go back to something else. But when I make a
Hmm.
decision, I am literally cutting all other options off. And I said at
Exactly.
that moment, I don't care what these people think. I love them. I care about them, but I know that my purpose is way bigger than anything anyone could ever. Like, I'm the only me there is. I don't know if you found another one of me. You're the
Nope.
only you there is. Now
Ever
you
has been and never will be.
exactly. And so why not? Why not? We are paid according to our creativity, not from, not with, not because of. Our creativity does not diminish because we use it.
No.
So that's
It multiplies and expands, actually, in my experience. Utilizing the creative force and energy is what expands and multiplies it. I love the analogy you used of the seed breaking through the surface of the soil. For me, that fear barrier, I experience it as crossing through a portal.
mm,
So when I signed up for Myron's program, and I was holding the papers and my hands were shaking and tears were running down my face because at a physiological level, as you explained,
mm,
I was crossing over a barrier, like
mm,
going through a portal of
mm,
moving above my limitations, moving above my painful past experiences, moving above my self limiting beliefs, or not even above, but smashing through them.
mm.
And I experienced that as a portal. And what was really beautiful that evening after I'd done that and, you know, was kind of flurrying through this decision, I immediately went into resourcefulness and started to figure out how I'm going to make this happen. That evening, I felt such a peace and no attachment to the outcome, because what I understood in that moment was I cannot unfeel crossing through that fear portal. There is no reality in which I can reverse time and unfeel that. So
No,
no matter what happens from here on out, I made that decision, I acted on that decision, and I held myself through that decision. And that has changed me at a cellular level.
it really, I watched this happen at that table. Your voice even changed.
Yes, you said that.
Your aha moment came. I have a picture. Did I send it to you? Where
I'm
you
not
had
sure.
your hand on your chest, you were looking at Milton, and you were
Yes,
like,
I saw you take that picture, but you haven't sent it to me yet.
okay, I'm gonna send it in a second because I don't want to get
Yeah, no.
distracted. So she has her hand on her chest, and she's like, it's just like you mean to tell me that's how simple it was? And
Mm,
then she says it out loud. And I think I said, say it again, or Sheila said, say it again. And you said it again. And I said, now this time, say it like you mean it.
mhm.
And your voice changed, your energy came. It was like, and the momentum started and the
Yeah.
momentum built and it kept
Yes.
going.
Yes.
I'll say that there was no fear in my there was no fear at all walking over there. And then when I got
Mhm.
there, excuse me, I won't say what Jeff said, but it was it wasn't like a I'll tell you what it wasn't. I won't tell you what it was. It
Ooh.
wasn't, do you have $1 million? Like, where is it at? Get out of here. You don't have money. Or it wasn't like a judgment of you don't look like you have $1 million. Um, I didn't stand up and people just started laughing at me, right? That's everyone's greatest fear is what are they gonna think? And you
Mhm.
talked about changing yourself at a cellular level.
Yeah.
Milton talked about he's very good at teaching this. He talked about physiologically, cellularly, the sugar goes in your body and
Yeah.
creates a memory of that. So now I will forever know that when $1 million is offered, whether it's me paying it or me taking it, I will never not feel like I'm not a millionaire.
Yes, because you've embedded that into your bodily experience and bodily memory.
That part.
What happened for me in that moment, and I'm so glad that you brought that up with the hand on the chest, because what was actually happening in that moment is Milton was explaining that very thing to me about the sugar and creating the memory. And I was taking it in. And as he was talking, there was an overwhelming clarity of God's presence.
Mm,
So, just to give a bit of a background, my in terms of my spiritual journey, I used to be a militant atheist growing up. My mum was from a Catholic family, and it was kind of forced down her neck, and she had her own relationship with that, which I kind of adopted, and so on and so forth. So I was militantly atheist. And then my dad passed away, and I came onto a path of yoga, which helped me to move through the anxiety and depression that came as a result of him passing. And that began my journey of connecting with spirit and exploring path of self-realization. What I've come to realize along that journey, for me, God is an experience, and
mm,
that experience is the total present moment. And when in that moment when Milton was explaining, and I just had the breakthrough, and I started to realize who I really am. And it was almost like Milton's face was coming forwards and backwards, because I was kind of just soaked in present moment awareness and soaked in God's presence, which was a little bit overwhelming, which creates the feeling in the pit of the stomach that you spoke about, or
mm.
in the solar plexus, which I wanted to jump in earlier of.
Yes,
That's
please.
that's the seat of Manipura chakra. Are you familiar with the chakra
I
system?
am familiar with I got the chakra Bible right here.
Oh,
So
love that. So,
yeah.
yeah, the solar plexus is the seat of power. So I just thought it was perfect that you explained that was the place where you got the physical sensation just above the stomach, just below the heart, solar plexus, your seat of power, of self-esteem, of self-confidence.
Okay. The cranium has left the skull.
Your hair is currently levitating.
So the reason, okay, so it's so funny that you say that because you notice the difference in me from then on. It felt like I was Jesus. Everywhere I went, I had a word for someone. I'd look them deep in their eyes, I'd touch them on their shoulder. And I feel like I did this for you too.
Mhm, mhm,
And I'd speak into like directly into their heart,
mhm.
and I would yank theirs and pull that seed out for them. And I watched breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough happen. And all this came from believing that maybe, just maybe, I could be worth $1 million.
Yeah. And actually, I think that what you did there, you said, "Oh, I don't have $1 million," or blah, 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 whatever. I think that choice and that action was meant to be, obviously, because it's what happened. But I think exactly as you said, that created a ripple effect through the whole event.
Hmm.
Whether you had it or not, I think is irrelevant. But what you've just explained, of the confidence to stand up and be willing to align with it, believe you're worthy of it, and strive to move towards it, that's what resonated. The actual $1 million in the bank, as far as I'm concerned, is irrelevant.
Yeah.
But that you stood up to that opportunity and you said, "Yeah, me. That's for me," is really exciting.
Thank you. Thank you for that observation too. Because now that I sit and I reflect, I also think I've always been an attention getter my whole life, attention seeker. And
Mhm.
that was the one moment where I don't know if you noticed, I didn't get up, smile cheesy, and like, no, I just
Yeah.
got up, I grabbed my stuff as fast as I could, and I started walking, hoping that no one else was going. And as I
Mhm.
looked around, like left and right, I was like, nobody's going for it, so I'm going for it. And I sat.
Mhm.
And then the other guy, I don't know if I should mention name. I've been mentioning names. So Walter, the second guy that got up, I remember day one, he went to go sit by himself. And I told him, Walter, don't sit by yourself. Come sit with us. And I invited him. That was the same table as Sheila.
Mhm.
And I invited him, and he started talking with the gentleman next to him. I met like 600 people and remembered their names. It was crazy. We're sitting, and these people keep talking to me. So I never got the chance to really get to know Walter deeper. I got to know everybody on a deep level besides Walter. But what I did find out about Walter is that Walter is a very smart individual that is actually, I think, 6 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, so I'm curious, how did you build your wealth? And he said, I
Mm.
invested $100 in 2015 into cryptocurrency. I'm going to let that sit there for a second. Let's let that marinate. In through the nose, hold 4 seconds.
Out through the mouth.
We just meditated before we started this because we needed to channel the energy of
Mm.
the kingdom because you have to get out of your way. $100, 10,000 pennies, 10 dimes. No, that's a dollar.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah, no, I don't know what a dime is, apart from a chocolate bar.
purse of knowledge, because I know that's a perfect example. Because I know, I think everyone else knows.
Mm.
And so when a millionaire is like, it's easy, you just do this, 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 and this. And you're like,
What?
what?
Sorry, what?
And $100 in 2050, that takes an act of faith. Almost like the act of faith it took me to get up and know that I could possibly be ridiculed. I could be kicked out of the event and not refunded.
Mhm.
I could be put in prison for trying. Like, there's so many possibilities. But in that moment, all that I felt was I could be wrong. I could be right, but I'll never know if I sit here.
Exactly.
So I had the conversation. I had the boldness to because of that seed that sprouted. I said, if I don't ask, I won't know. So I said, if no, let me backtrack. So I asked him, what did he do from there? And he said, it grew. I started investing it in some real estate. I started investing in like financial literacy and learning things. And he's had a couple, or in tech, and he had a couple $100 million exits. Now I want you to $100 in 2015. And he didn't say a $100 million exit. He said he had
Get a
a
couple.
couple $100 million exits with an S,
Plural for
plural.
everyone at the back.
So you mean to tell me you turned $100 into 100,000 thousands? Yes, 100 million, right?
Yeah,
A million is 1,000, 100,000s, or a
I'm not
thousand.
the gal to ask that. It's a lot of zeros.
Three commas, three commas off of not even one comma. That is absolutely mind blowing. And so my thought was, well, let's see. If I had a couple is 200. If I had 200 million and a million fell off a bus somewhere, I don't even think I'd miss it.
No.
So if I don't ask, I won't know. If, hypothetically speaking, someone didn't have $1 million, but they stood up in faith, knowing that they can get it from somewhere in a room full of millionaires, would you be the type of person that I could come to and have that conversation with? He said, it's a conversation that can be had. And I thought he didn't say no. And then I
You
thought
didn't say no.
he didn't say no. And how many times do we avoid no?
I just want to pause there
Please do.
because that question is so important. Again, because you have now programmed the physiological experience of, I'm willing to ask that kind of huge, bold question. And in those kind of examples, for me, the answer is irrelevant. Like I said before, the outcome is irrelevant because you can't unfeel that.
Mm.
The little voice that said, why not just ask? And you followed that and you took action. Again, the outcome is totally irrelevant. But the fact that you did that is so inspiring. And I think it's going to change the course of your path.
It already did.
It
And
already did. It's
we
changed the course of your path.
we know the outcome of the story. I guess we'll get there. So the next day, I had conversations with Jeff, and the next day, um, I was trying to figure out, could I pull out my retirement? Could I ask someone else? Could there's a couple people I talked to that had that kind of money, but I was like, how is that a mirror to my life? Like the whole time it was like a mirror reflecting back to me who I am or who I was. So
Hmm.
Monday night, I died to myself. I said, this is the last night you are going to be this person.
Hmm.
And I accepted that fully when I went to sleep. I went to sleep at like 2:30, sprung up at 6:30, feeling like I was
Hmm.
late and got going. Giving myself the permission to get up when the offer was made, giving myself the permission to look stupid if I asked for $1 million. Like it's hard to ask for $1. It's hard to ask for $20. It's hard to ask a bank for 50,000 for a car. I'm about to ask for 1,000 thousands.
Hmm.
And I did. And I felt convicted. I was like, if I do that, I'm not gonna appreciate it because you don't pay attention.
Mm.
And so I told him I'm gonna pray about it, right? Because even if you do it, I don't think I'll appreciate it. And so I'll probably end up thanking him sometime down the road in the next couple months when I actually make it on my own, doing the thing that I'm supposed to do.
Hmm.
I ended up signing up for the. Am I allowed to say the price? Does he announce? Yeah, he talks about it all the time, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure.
um the $55,000 program, the King Solomon's Court. I ended up signing up for that one. I started with the Offer Master Boot Camp. It had a lot to go
Hmm.
with it, but I was like, again, $1,000 ticket or $3,000 ticket. If I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it, I gotta do it big.
Yeah.
Hold my retirement and let's get it. We're gonna get it because,
Hmm.
like you said, that physiological change. That it's like someone took a screwdriver and said, "You are now permitted to exit the matrix. You are
Yeah.
fired."
Exactly. Exit the matrix, indeed. That's what's happening. Like I was walking down the road today listening to music, and then I came back and I was looking myself in the mirror and just being like, I am a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
I am a millionaire. And it didn't feel like repetitive, inauthentic affirmation. It was just like a realization of like, this is what's up. Like it's just a matter of manifesting it physically, but I'm already there.
You are. We are. I don't feel any different than I did before, except I'm more bold. I thought I had no fear before, but it's more of I used to think I had to have a script and a plan, and we spent about 30 minutes to 45 minutes trying to plan this beforehand. And I don't even think we've touched on the things besides power of proximity, right?
Hmm.
This is the power of proximity. It
Exactly.
literally rubs off.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got my son here. He's like, give me some of that millionaire and boom.
In terms of, I just want to add in as well, when we were talking about my breakthrough at that round table, the thing that was also very insightful and will stick with me from that moment was when I lifted my head up, because after she was like, keep going, kind of broke off into little conversations for a moment. And you guys were talking, and I just kind of went quiet for a moment as I was thinking and contemplating. And that's when I had the insight. And as I lifted my head up and said it, there was a pause and there was a kind of a little bit of trepidation, I guess, in me of saying that out loud.
Mm,
But the immediate insightful response from everybody, supportive, adding some ideas, and like what I realized in that moment is there was just unconditional support and love. There was no question that it was going to be accepted and I was going to be accepted for showing up for who I was. And that was a really poignant experience because it was something I was scared of stepping into.
yeah.
So that there's the proximity as well, not just like, oh, proximity of really big players with a lot of money, which of course is very exciting, but proximity to a community where you are instantly accepted and your ideas are supported and brainstormed and like, people adding things in. If they're adding feedback, it's to help you get more clarity. And I think that part is so valuable because I know, at least in my audience, and I think this is true of a lot of people trying to break out of the matrix, it can be really challenging when your family and friends are, oh, what do you want to do that for? Or, well, that's not going to work. Or, why don't you just get a normal job like everybody else? Um,
Mm,
and I think it's so sad. I've seen so many of the girls in my community stop and start and stop and start and stop and start because their family and friends have like an expectation of how they should live their lives. So that was really insightful for me of having that just being soaked in that acceptance.
It's really great that you said that too. Did you notice that everywhere you went, people were eager to serve?
Yes.
And with that being said, I just concluded, and that's why I found my pen that I couldn't find a minute ago. It was like God made that pen appear because I couldn't find it
Full
earlier.
circle, yeah.
It was there.
I'm pretty sure it went behind you, but now it's in front of you.
Right. But when the student's ready, the teacher appears.
There we go.
So in the system that's designed to protect the system to keep us
Yeah.
enslaved and think that
Yeah.
fired is a bad thing, when we really have to start doing word studies on like what words mean, because we
Yeah.
are programmed to say things that deprogram and disempower. And I don't even know if those are words, but I'm making them words because I'm a millionaire.
Hello.
I'm just saying you can put
Mhm.
it in whatever. That was I'm gonna make them a word. Disempower and deprogram.
Disempower is a word.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
I
that's
learned
a
something
word.
new
I'm
today.
not sure about deprogram, but potentially I'm just not familiar with that. But
I got
disempower is absolutely a word.
I got 6 hours of sleep that whole week and didn't feel it. You saw
Yeah.
me floating around. I was everywhere, and like until there was no one left, and it wasn't just the people there. It was the staff. It was the people I ran into on the street. Like it
Hmm.
was so contagious. The feeling of feeling supported that I wanted to outpour that
Yes.
feeling of support.
Yeah.
It's a contagious energy.
Hmm.
And so, in the system that's designed to protect the system and keep you hampered down, they laugh and lower you. But in the
Mm.
rooms where the conversations that create cash flow, the messages that move the masses, the
Yeah.
ideas that come from the imagination with the articulation to communicate that vision to people that can unify and implement them, people are only lifting and teaching leverage. See, that couldn't happen if I was scripting. I wouldn't have
No,
been able to read
exactly.
that.
You wouldn't have been in flow either. Here's an etymology or an etymology of a word when you break it down. Presence, pre-sense. So before you understand and articulate and analyze it all, which is the flow state you were just in, when you're in presence, it's before you've deconstructed it all, which is when you're in the flow state, which is why you were able to tie those words together so eloquently and creatively, because you were pre-sense. And that's a wrap.
You're done. You can't find out anymore. What in the how? I'm always breaking words in half to see present. I was already destined for this. And
Hmm.
I've been looking outside of myself this entire time. If you look on my YouTube, which you will because you're seeing this, there is a video called Help Me Find My Niche where I'm desperately pleading for people to validate me and tell me what I do. And my reflections in that are what caused this trigger reaction to join my, well, there was a lot that went into making this decision because it's a big
Hmm.
decision to
Yeah.
invest $3,000 in yourself for 5 days.
Hmm.
Like I pay $3,500 a month for a whole month in this house, and
Yeah.
everyone knows that, right?
That's a good comparison. Yeah, for sure.
And then hold on, I spent $70,000 this week. I just thought about that.
Anthony's face.
Like
You
I still
spent
got
what?
car payments. I still got car payments, but I just spent 70 in a house. I got mortgage debt, all this stuff. But that's how confident I am and how much
Hmm.
faith that gave me that it's possible because I saw it.
Yeah.
It's like going to visit a mansion. But hold on, let's get back to this present,
Hmm.
the dude. And then like the Key and Peele, where like it was the substitute teacher and he's like present at the end, the um Balake. Is there a Balake in here? Have you seen the Key and
No,
Peele?
no.
Oh my god, I gotta send you that. That's so funny. Oh yeah, pop my thumb. My son loves to pop my. Ah, that feels so good.
Oh, nice. little mid podcast thumb pop.
Yeah,
Can't go wrong.
that's a that you know what that is,
That was
right?
like in
That's
the game.
better. You better like. Oh, you got to do it. You're on that side. Like, I know you're watching this. I know you're getting value. Like, comment on the things that are blowing your mind right now.
Yeah, let us know your insights. That's really
Yeah,
insightful. It's always nice to
yeah.
see what people take from a sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. And if I touched you, please put those in the comments. Like if someone it doesn't have to be me. Let me okay, hold on. This is what I had to do. I found myself having to do this constantly. God's will ignites zeal. Greg's will ignores
Mhm.
zeal. If I get out of the way, I'm in flow. Things. So if anyone touched you and gave you gems there and you're willing to share those gems, please leave a comment for other people to pick up on and see. Let's I'm going to challenge you to show the power of the community we were just in by
Mm.
sharing your biggest takeaway from the conference in the comments. That's a tongue twister. And you better believe these comments are going to blow up.
Mm. I believe it.
So present. So then let's break up future.
Mm-hmm.
Future.
Sure.
I don't know.
That
Let's
one.
ask ChatGPT real quick. ChatGPT is
Yeah.
quicker than Google.
I was like, I don't know what a few is.
Um,
Oh, but I've got some more while you're searching that up.
Please.
A week, as in Monday to Friday. Week, as in the opposite of strong, the working week. And then the weekend is when you are weakened after working all week at your 9 to 5 job. And then that's when you start to realize, oh my goodness, it's all intentional to keep us down. This is not accidental. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You know, drinking loads of alcohol, stuffing yourself. Yay, the weekend. Oh, and then it's Monday.
Saying we're gonna get messed up, tore down.
I'm going to spoil myself. I'm going to spoil myself. I don't know if you say that in America. Is it an English thing? Oh,
We
oh, I'm going to
do.
spoil myself. Have a
I'm
little
gonna
treat.
splurge. I'm going to waste
Yeah,
away. I'm famished. Like,
yeah.
in order to say I am an atheist, you have to say God's name.
Introduce God first. I know.
I think I could. I don't know who was more mind blown and confused, me or ChatGPT. I just said I was trying to be lazy with it. I said future word study, and it gave me something completely different. But it was like,
Etymology of the word future.
thank you. Etymology. I'm telling you, brain isn't braining. Etymology of
Yeah.
the word future. The word future has an interesting etymology that traces back through several languages and time periods. Etymology of future, Latin origin. The word future comes from the Latin word futurus, which is the future participle of the verb es, meaning to be.
So to become.
10x is easier than 2x.
Uh-huh.
Futurist means going to be or about to be, indicating something that is yet to come.
Mm-hmm. Future
Be,
self. Do.
do, have.
Mm.
The Latin word futurus passed into Old French as future, which maintained the meaning of time to come.
It's on its way. And it's pulling us. Future self is pulling us towards it.
Okay, so that was Latin origin, Old French, Middle English. The Old French term was adopted into Middle English in the 14th century as future. During this period, English was heavily influenced by both Norman French due to Norman conquest and Latin through scholarly and ecclesiastical use.
Mm-hmm.
So Latin, going to be or about to be, Old French, time to come, adopted into English with the same meaning. Okay. Has maintained consistent meaning. Okay. Are there Hebrew meanings
Ooh.
to this?
Trying to think of other part words I know. Responsibility. You go.
No, go ahead. Oh, I feel like I'm about to do a goldenism right here. because it's like really big.
Goldenism.
It's really okay. The most common Hebrew word for future is pronounced atid. Atid is derived from the root ayin tav dalet, which means to prepare or to be destined.
Oh my goodness.
Are you mind blown or are you yawning?
Bit of both.
In Jewish texts and everyday use, atid refers to what is destined or what will come.
Not what might come, what will
What
come.
will come. And so if we know whose we are and we know who we are, then don't matter where we are or how we are, as long as we be in line with God's will
Mm-hmm.
and we make the decision to be what we were meant to be,
Yep. And it's inevitable.
it is destined that it will come. Okay, so one is atid, the other is lavo. Another term related to future is pronounced lavo. There's like symbols. Should I share my screen? Could I do that?
I'm not sure, but I won't be able to see you.
Okay, I won't do that then. We'll leave it alone. So, oh
So
wait.
I have a question.
Yes, yes. Let's
I
leave this
guess
alone.
to start
That we're
to
unpacking way too much for them.
yeah, it's like 11 o'clock at night. We're diving into Hebrew etymology. Love it. My question is, where are you at now in yourself post event? And what's that transition been like for you?
Well, I've had a lot of people. I didn't realize how many people I had touched until I realized the quality of the conversations I've had since I left and started checking my phone and started seeing all
Mm-hmm.
the thank yous for me being me. And I
Mm.
know it's not me, so I keep giving the glory up. I cried a lot. I cried a lot in the
Yeah.
airport, in the car on the way there. I went for a walk and just so when I left there and there was finally no more people to serve and everyone was gone, I noticed that it was this not wanderless or aimless wandering. It was more of a purposeful searching for
Mm.
people to serve. I met a lady right before I left for the airport, and she was so distraught. And she was cussing someone out, and she was saying, "Yeah, he deserves it," and this, and she was a basket case. And when I say I stopped just about anybody to find out their story and talk to them, I thought this podcast needs to be me with my phone and a mic and
Mm.
just go for a walk and tell the world's story. Because I found out that she just left a funeral. And then she said, "Yeah, my husband died." But she was so cheery. She was so happy. Her name was Diana. And she was just the most bright, bubbly. They all wore sneakers to his funeral because he loved sneakers. I took a couple pictures for her with her, connected with her on Instagram. That was the other thing I was doing. I was connecting with everyone I talked to, but I started with making a soft offer. I
Mm.
offered them the opportunity to tell their story and an ear to listen, a heart to receive, a
Yeah.
God to implant, a seed to grow, a must to know the future that will come if they let
Mm.
go. When you're in flow, it flows.
Hmm. When you're present, it all makes sense.
Recent Lavo. But we didn't get to that one. So it felt like, oh, and the other thing, every time I went out to eat, I felt the overwhelming need to bless over abundantly. And there was no fear of, am I going to have money left after that? Or is
Yeah.
that like, there's, when you tap into the millionaire frequency, spending $70,000 in a week doesn't feel any different than spending $2 for parking
Yeah.
or $1 for a Tic Tac or
Yeah.
2.15 for a water bottle in the airport. It doesn't feel any different because it doesn't cost. It's an investment. All things are, I'm not going to go there.
That's another video for another day.
That's another video for another day.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up being on a boat. Okay, I'm jumping around. There, I went on a boat and I
I'm
went
on a
around.
boat. I'm in a
Yeah,
funeral. No, I'm
yeah.
joking.
Well, before I left and ran into that lady, I just wanted to point out the fact that she was bright and bubbly, and
Mm,
when I spoke to her and I said, I know it feels like the end, but I promise it's the beginning of something beautiful
yeah,
because now you have a story and you have a personality and you have the cheer and the zeal that the world needs to see that they can have too, even through loss. You're celebrating. Somebody doesn't know what this looks like, and you get to tell your
yes,
story.
yes, absolutely.
I want to, I don't want to do anything. What God is calling me to do is
Mm-hmm.
to let the world tell their story, air it out, and just show that people have a common, everyone has the same feelings. Everyone is thinking the exact same.
Absolutely. There's no new problems.
Ecclesiastes 110, no new ideas under the sun. Everything that is always has and always will be.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel to get in a boat? It was a pirate city taxi thing, and I'll never forget Becca. I met her on there. She was so bubbly. I was dancing without thinking of what other people thought of me. I was
Mm-hmm.
singing, I was jamming in my own little zone, and I didn't care if people were looking. And one thing I did notice, I either attracted the people that had the same energy,
Mm-hmm.
or I made people mad. And I'm talking like very mad. I ran in. Yeah, it was like you're speaking to something in them that
Yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
know that they need to let go, but they can't.
Mm-hmm. It's uncomfortable. It's very
Ex-
uncomfortable. You're a mirror for the parts of people that they're not willing to look at.
yes. And so Becca was such a light, and she was contagious, and she rubbed off on me. And then I energized her, and then the other guy that's announcing on the boat is like, Becca, anytime you put music on, just dances. And they were so quirky, and then nobody was reacting. Like she's making jokes. She spent time on these jokes. She's like, "How much does a pirate pay for his ear piercings?" And I was like, "A buccaneer." And we both slapped our knees, and it was like we didn't even plan that. That's the kind of things that happen when you're in purpose, on purpose, for a purpose.
Synchronicity. Yes, absolutely.
It just happens. The things just flow.
And they flow.
But guess where this boat ended? I rode the whole I was supposed to be at the airport at 5, but did I care? No, because if I miss my flight, what happens? I
Just
get
book a
to
new.
talk to more people.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes around and then you switch boats and you go on another one. And the Chloe was on there and she was amazing. And gets to they're telling the whole history of Tampa Bay. I didn't know Millionaires Row was down there. I didn't know that
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the guy's name, but it's a famous baseball player. And then there was a lot of history in Tampa Bay. But then as the boat came back around and it stopped before I hopped on the one back where Becca was to come back the other way, I noticed where we ended. Do you know what I was looking at when I looked up?
I feel like it would be too obvious to say the hotel where the event was, so I'm not sure.
The hotel where the event was. And you know why you
Okay.
knew that?
Why?
You know,
I would just say that was the full circle. Like that's where you were supposed to be.
because I was present.
You were present.
It was destined. I went a full circle around my purpose to end back there when I was present.
Hmm.
Drop it in the comments right now because I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, me too. Let's let that marinate for a minute.
Hmm.
That box breathing is amazing.
It really is.
We're gonna have
It's
to do that.
used by, I think, is it Marines or it can be typically used in the by the military to it's very good for a focus. It's a focus pranayama, focus breath work.
Hmm. So,
Okay. So how do we tie all of this together and leave a lasting thought on the table?
all right. So I know you have notes. I know that you know me, even though I don't know you. I'm just kidding. I'm being stupid now. I need some sleep.
Yeah, me too. I've got my
So
coaching girls in a few hours.
you got to coach people in a couple hours?
Not a couple, a few. Because I'm in the States, I'm getting up a lot earlier to do the call because I
Oh.
wanted to keep it at the same time. So it's at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we're going to wrap this up by saying this. If you got notes, congratulations. You're this much closer to the you're supposed to be. It seems like Jesus said, observe the masses and do the exact opposite.
Mm,
Because as we talked about with the wordplay that's keeping us stuck, it's all designed to keep us down. And remember that everything is an attack on your identity in the end. We leave this conference, and in 72 hours, if we don't do anything with it, we lose it.
yeah.
When you freeze, you tell your body, oh crap. They got up with no problem. They brush their teeth with no problem. They go pee with no problem. They eat with no problem. There's a problem because he just thought about it and now he's not doing it. So now we need to figure out because, like,
Hmm.
oh my God, what's going on? We're never going to do that. And that's what happened for everyone in that room. I can guarantee when he said, it's $1 million and there's only 2 seats. They thought too long. You know what I didn't do?
You didn't think too long.
You know, I just acted.
Well, you know what a lack of thinking is?
Faith.
It's also pre-sent.
Oh, and we drop the mic and we end right there. Take notes, take action, take your life into your hands, live from your future because you are present. Ciara, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We've got to do this more.
Yes, totally. I'd love to break bread and chat through our next big breakthroughs.
Absolutely. And where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at __ Ciara Nicole, or yeah, no, go for Instagram. Instagram's my main platform. I'm showing up there every day and I would love to see you there.
I might even challenge you
Hmm.
to bring this to LinkedIn because you would be
Yes.
how
I've
many
had that tip a couple of times.
and I have a very big platform on LinkedIn where I'm
Okay.
going to share this as well.
Okay, brilliant.
And
Consider it done.
they need this.
Consider it done.
So at __ CIARANICOLE.
Thank
OMG. No, no, no. I stop, pause, OMG. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been so lovely to chat.
Absolutely. And I'm going to stop the recording so we can wrap up.
Yeah.
But until next time, in the meantime, in between time, stay blessed by the best. Be you, be bold, be courageous because you're worth it.